Yeah, it's been a long time, and I'm happy to be back.
We are glad to have you back, girlfriend.
Yes. Woo!
Woohoo!
Well, so let me start off with saying it's great to be back, and I've missed you all so much. And let me introduce my guest, Mistress Ashley Rains, before we start talking about me.
Yeah. Right.
But no, I read all the Fet Life messages from all of you viewers wishing me well, and I'm fine now, but it took some time. But it was interesting at DomCon in May, you know. She was there.
Yeah.
And but everything's fine. I'm on the mend and back to work and back on Inside Fetish.
Woohoo!
That's probably been the most difficult for me is, you know, not only staying away from work, but staying away from this because I love doing this. So who do we have in the chat room?
We have Miss Cassie, we have Justin, and we have quite a few people that are watching the show.
Awesome.
So, you know, welcome home.
Welcome, and welcome to all of you. So, Mistress Ashley.
Yeah, it's me again.
It's her again. I love having her on the show because, you know, she's feisty and keeps me real. So when I start feeling good about myself, she's there to knock me down.
Yeah.
What friends do.
Yeah. Kick the legs out from underneath you.
But I'll tell you, this bitch.
Oh my God. Bitch already? I think we just got started. It's kind of ridiculous.
But she was the one that knew all my medical information. There's a room full of doms trying to get to me and help me, and she's like, I got this. They were asking all the medications that I've been on, and she knew, and she didn't know she knew.
You want to pass out in a room full of doms. That's like the way to go. You do. I mean, it takes a minute to figure out who's in charge, but once you get that figured out, you know, it's pretty okay. So
she did. So we're going to discuss a topic today. Yes. It's about the reason why I thought of it is because so many times I hear about DS relationships going wrong within the first few months. Mm-hmm. And this is what I've gathered. It's that communication is a big, important thing. And so it's not dom bashing, master mistress bashing, or even sub bashing. So that's what this is. This is not what that's about. But I think the problem of these things is that oftentimes I'm talking to an S-type, and they're like, well, this is what I wanted. And I'm like, well, did they tell you how they are and what they expect? And if you're not looking for somebody who's sadistic, then why did you match up with somebody who told you exactly who they are and how they play and what they expect of you? So today's topic is about that and playing safe, finding that partner where you're safe. And it's not just, again, about the subs being or the doms being safe players. This is about being safe and not being in toxic relationships. And so how is it that we could remedy that? So open up the floor for discussion for any questions. I'll give you some of my thoughts. I think oftentimes subs and slaves think that they can change, that their master or mistress will change how they are. You know, I think oftentimes they become infatuated with that person and then forget about what their needs are. So I guess that's really where I'm going with that. But what are your thoughts? And we're also
supposed to have thoughts.
Yes, we're also in the professional scene, and that happens often with the subs that we play with.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. I think, like you said, communication's the problem. I mean, if one's assuming that the other one knows what they want, and vice versa, you're going to run into an issue.
Right.
And that's not just DS, that's life, you know.
Right. So, it's a relationship.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. How do you remedy that? Like clear, concise contracts? I don't know. I mean, there's so much to talk about where that's concerned. So
I think first in the beginning, it should be that you talk for a long time before you even get into a contract of like, yes, you are my slave. Because I think the dom master or mistress needs to protect themselves and make sure they're not getting over into some sort of headache situation, because they need to check that person out as it's like, first of all, it's like, do you have a job? Do you live in your mother's basement? I mean, those are key things.
What's wrong with living in your mother's basement, Jen?
Are you basement boy or girl? Right.
Well, I
so
think
those things.
Meeting people online has kind of added like a wrench to the
absolutely, absolutely.
The works, because I mean, what somebody gives you online doesn't necessarily
give you their
full
real
persona. Yeah. So I think it's.
I love the dick pictures, by the way.
Oh, I love dick pics.
Yeah, I love getting those. Can I be
Those
your
are
slave?
awesome. Oh no, I like it when it's their like profile photo.
That
really, tells me a lot.
That sends me. Yeah.
Yeah. And optics in mirror are larger than they appear, boys. Stop it. We know this. We know, like, if you hold it a certain way, like, it's going to be huge.
Bigger.
Yeah, we know that trick.
Oh, one eye.
Yeah, we do it with our boobs, so stop it. Just, like, stop.
Yeah. Do that, too.
Yeah.
So.
Or use the bloat feature in Photoshop.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Photoshopping your penis for the greater good. Yeah, I think we can skip all that, but...
Who do we have in chat? So I can say hello.
We have Miss Cassie.
Oh, you already told me, but I'm getting
And we have
old.
Justin.
Hello.
Justin wants to know what's wrong with moms in the basements, or what's wrong with moms' basements. Tee hee 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 hee.
Well, are you hiding anything in there?
Jen.
Oh, did we did not.
What
Sorry, gave you the fake sugar. Ugh. Yeah, are you hiding anything in the basement? Talking to things that aren't there?
Well,
Mel, this needs more vodka, by the way.
Oh, God. That's all we need. That'll be a hell of a show, I can tell you that right now. We do not need liquor.
Oh. So, Mel, what's some of your thoughts about the DS relationships and getting into one, and whether or not you have a toxic or emotional vampire, that whole like passive-aggressive bullshit that happens?
My thoughts on getting into relationships is to take it slow.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do the lesbian cargo van within the first date. Where you meet somebody and you move in with them the very first time.
Right.
Get to know them.
Yes.
Conversation, communication,
Absolutely.
ask a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. Really,
both sides too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's there's a lot of people who say they're authentic and transparent, but they're really not. And a lot of them, there are some predators in our community, both in the submissive and the dominant.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
What about background checks? Like, how are we feeling about that? Is that like a legitimate?
I think so. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know.
Especially when you're meeting somebody online and they're in Pittsburgh and you're in LA. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a horrible idea.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, long distance is even more difficult because then, you've got to really, one of you's got to travel. So one of you's got to take a chance, and that's not always the best case scenario,
and that's what I suggest too. It's like subs or slaves who are willing to travel after they met somebody on FetLife and they, within a week are traveling down to go have a play date. I was like, that's not real safe.
No.
So I'm like, use common sense too. If you don't have any, I guess you should listen to people who care about you.
Or maybe, go to an event so that your sole purpose is not to just hook up with this person that you may not have chemistry with or something like that. So, maybe if you're going to travel, make another reason for your travel, so your sole purpose isn't to just meet this person that you've been talking to online.
Right.
So, you can play somewhere public and safe.
You have a question, Mel?
We have a statement from Justin, and also we have the Kink Tank has just entered the room.
Oh, welcome. Hello.
Welcome, Kink Tank. I like that name.
That is cool.
Justin says, we are all toxic. We have to want to not to be toxic and follow through. That's a really good
That
statement.
is a good point, because although I try not to be toxic.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, and I think too that we're vulnerable. If one person's negative and we're feeding into it, it absolutely can slough off on us. That's where somebody's got to take care and be like, you know what, this isn't good for me.
Yeah.
This is not good for me, and just end it, because it's not something that's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm usually only toxic after the weekend. So
Yeah.
I try not to be toxic in between those times.
Yeah.
But that comes with age and experience and all those things. I mean, you know, as you get older, you get a little more self-aware and do some, you know, inventory and start and work on yourself, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I mean, you don't just keep, you know.
Yeah, if you just keep repeating the same things and you keep getting the same result, well, guess what? It's you. You're the problem. You need to change. And, you know, the passive aggressive stuff, and not just in DS, I mean, I don't put up with anybody. So why should we put up with that when we're looking for a partner in DS? Because our BDSM is our place to go to. It's our sanctuary. And so I think that's the last place you should accept it. And it's draining. It's emotionally draining. And I think, like, as a Dom, because I serve somebody and I also mentor, and I'm looking into having a slave right now, and we're talking. And it's like, as Doms, we want to be the caretaker, really. And we want to guide people. But if they're not doing anything to help themselves and they're solely depending on you and they're becoming needy, that is not good for anybody.
Yeah, it becomes a one-way street. You know.
Absolutely. Yes, another question? Statement?
Yes, Justin in the chat room says, how do you feel about dom-dom relationships?
Oh, dom-doms?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much what me and Cyan are in. I mean, I have a set of people that I mentor and are looking into doming, but I do serve Cyan. But oftentimes, because we are also engaged and we are also business partners, I'm pretty dominant submissive, which means that I'm not submissive at all, but I do like to serve her and somewhat behave myself.
I think it's really difficult.
It is difficult.
Extremely difficult.
It can be difficult because there has to be that line where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to listen to her. So it has its drawbacks.
I think two tops in a relationship have to make the decision to either remove the DS entirely from it, or, you know, because a lot of, like, my dick's bigger than your dick will go on otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think you have to agree to disagree on a lot of things when there's two tops involved, you know, and you have to respect everybody's boundaries just like you would in any relationship.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think it's a very tough mix.
It is.
Two subs is just as tough. I mean, you know, you spank me, no, you spank me, no, you spank. I mean, holy shit, where does that conversation end?
No, right? Play just happens with two subs, no matter what. Play's gonna happen. You have a couple of doms. It's like,
don't touch me.
Yeah, and don't touch me, and let's talk about play.
Or like if you could find like some kind of agreement where somebody's not dominant at some point. I mean, if you can agree that one person's not dominant in the bedroom or one person's not dominant, you know, otherwise you're just constantly going to be fighting. So you have to find some common ground in that, or it's just not going to work.
Cyan and I have discussions.
Passionate
ones.
Loud.
But I am very argumentative, and it's an art.
No.
So, but no, our relationship works out. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting married. Somebody have a statement?
I do. I've been in a dum-dum relationship.
Yeah. Is that dum-dum?
Is it dum-dum? Yeah, a dum-dum
move? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I just found that it wasn't, you know, it didn't have the same feel as, you know, because we both had to keep our doms in check.
Right.
And it was very difficult. It was very difficult to, I mean, we enjoyed each other. He was a very nice, generous, wonderful, kind man. But I couldn't play with him, and if he said anything that was at least a little dommy to me, it kind of pissed me off. And if I said anything at least a little dommy to him, it kind of pissed him off. So it kind of didn't work too well.
Right.
But I know there are lots of people that are in dom-dom relationships, and it works really well.
Yeah, I think it works well when you have a family, too.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, we have a family, and although her submissives or slaves are not mine, they're my brothers and sisters, and everybody has a specific role. And I mean, she's got, and I mean, I love my brothers and sisters, and that is one thing that Cyan and I have in common and have always wanted was a family of slaves. And then I have people that will serve me, but they will defer to Cyan as well. And it's kind of like my brothers and sisters respect me because they know me and Cyan are a unit, but I don't give off orders or anything like that. And so that's when it works really well. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, Justin in the chat room says, it seems to me that any relationship requires service despite the DS
Absolutely.
status.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Think about our parents. Like we were talking about that today. Like my mom always managed the money, and my dad was still very, very dominant, and I had two dominant parents, but they had their different roles. Dad was the disciplinarian, and Mom managed money. She managed the household. My dad, both of them worked, and they both came home and cooked together, and it just, you knew who did what. That's
what I mean. Like, I think you have to, like, really work out your roles.
Yeah.
And whose responsibility. I mean, it is just like any relationship where communication's a must and all these things. But it gets a little more complicated because you're adding like another element to the mix.
Right.
So then you have to really have your communication on lockdown. And it helps too, like she said, if you're in a family or you have a slave that lives there to kind of alleviate everybody's, domness, and that can help. Or, there's a lot of ways to work it out. It can work.
Yeah, it does. And it does. And like I said, her slaves are my brothers and sisters. So I don't even want to dom them. That's like a whole nother responsibility that I don't want to do. Because I have 40 children at my job. So the last thing I want is to be in charge when I go home.
Yeah.
Don't want to be in charge.
And nobody wants to be in charge all the time. I mean,
no.
There's a point in everybody, I mean...
I want things to go my way all the time.
Well, yeah, that's different. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
But nobody wants to be in charge of everything all the time. I don't want to make every single solitary decision in life, like, down to what's being eaten or what's, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
micromanage.
That's not a partner. That becomes like...
You're taking care of a child.
It's way more than...
Yeah.
I mean, children grow up. So, I don't know. That becomes like a whole other situation.
Yeah, and especially, like, if you aren't upfront with certain issues that you have, or, I mean, whatever issues you have, you should not come into a relationship, and that's any relationship.
But most people aren't aware of their issues, right? I mean, if we're all aware of our issues, we'd be able to handle it or actively work on them.
I think we can be aware. Like,
you can be, but most people aren't. Like, I don't think most people are aware of their, like, deep-seated emotional issues.
Deep-seated ones.
Yeah,
like,
or they're not actively working on themselves.
Right,
so,
right.
It's hard to pin that down if you're not healthy-minded, is what I'm saying.
Right, right.
But anyway, you want to talk about you again?
No, Mel wants a question. It's about Mel.
It's
about Mel.
Question. What do you think are signs of a person that is not quite all there, and that could be maybe a narcissistic sociopath or a predator? I mean, what are the signs that you guys see as being female dominance?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a good one.
That is a good one. You want to start?
So, I mean,
we've run into a lot of things.
That's really subjective. Like, that's like situational and subjective. That's really tough, And I think it's something over time you get that skill for recognizing.
Yeah, well, it's over time that those things materialize. Like, I was seeing somebody for years, and after we played, I would always write him an email that said, "Thank you so much. That was a lot of fun." And before a scene, he would write really long emails, and my emails were always very short and concise. 3 years later, he's like, I don't want to see you anymore because you never do this, this, or this. And I'm like, I've never done that. So why are you expecting me to do it now? So those are when those signs come up. It could be 2 years down the road. It could be weeks where you see things like if you are playing with a sub and the sub cries because they didn't get aftercare and you were clear about not having aftercare, you got a problem. So it's those little things.
Yeah, and I think that if somebody starts to take your weaknesses and use them against you, or starts to manipulate situations with your weaknesses or your emotional downfalls, or starting to make you feel bad about yourself, and it's a slow process and it's really hard to recognize until you're way deep in it. So I mean, you have to look out for why is this person saying this to me? Because there's a difference between DS and verbal abuse. There's a difference between, and until you're clear on that, and, you have to have a really healthy mind to recognize those things.
Oh, yeah.
And I think so often that's the problem. Two unhealthy minds get together, and they make a disaster. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing, it can show up as quickly as one night of play. Like if you've talked about to your dom that you don't like public humiliation, you don't like this certain implement, and they take out that certain implement, well, that's not a good thing right there. That's where you should be reevaluating whether or not you want to get into a relationship. So sometimes it's very easy things to spot.
Right, yeah. Yep.
Yes?
Yeah, I have found that in relationships that if anyone can't go home and they want to just stay with me, they want to constantly do things for me, that they really adjust their whole life just to please me. I think especially in the beginning that's a really telltale sign that person is extremely needy and very insecure, and I know they want to be of service, but sometimes they can be overbearing, and it creates so much exhaustion in me. When somebody is so needy where they have to sit next to me, they have to touch me constantly. It's a constant.
It's icky.
Yeah, it is. Where they don't have, the independence.
That's a really good point. Yeah, don't touch me. That's a really good point.
It is a good point.
To add to that, I won't even consider someone that doesn't have full-time work or can't show me that they're able to take care of themselves and don't have their own thing going on. If somebody has is living in their parents' back to the parents' basement, nothing wrong with their parents' basement.
That's a true statement, though.
But
it's
if
very
you're an
telling.
adult and you can't live independently and you can't hold a job, that's a telltale sign that you have some social stuff to work through, or you have some neediness to work through, and I'm not going to be able to fill whatever hole you've got going on, and constant texts and emails and that need, like you said, for the constant attention, and I've been through that where I'd sit down at my computer and somebody would pull up a chair right next to me. And I'm just like, wow, we can't, or I'd sit down on the couch and somebody's in my lap and I'm, it's a bit much,
Yeah.
Doms don't like to be touched that much, in my opinion. You gotta.
Well, some do, and some doms, male and female, that's right up their alley to want to work with somebody. But the thing is that it never gets better because there's always going to be that thing that sends them over the edge or sends their bad issues or bad, little things that, such as their little passive aggressiveness. Say you're wanting a family. And so you add another person to your family, and there's going to be problems.
Right, initially. But if they continue and continue. And it's, that person, you got to make a judgment call at that point. But, I don't know. It's a really tough call. There's no right or wrong answer. It's very subjective, I don't think we can narrow it down well enough, other than the obvious. if they're just getting out of prison. No.
Yeah, that's where lots and lots of questions need to be asked. Yes, Mel?
Another question in the chat room, Justin says,
great.
do you feel that taking a sub is a form of service or simply a step in the journey? I like that.
Well, that's both. Absolutely, because anytime you take a step or make a decision, there's a journey. It's very deep, but it's very true. It is true. I'm not making light of that.
Well, I don't know. I don't see it as taking anything. Like I don't like that phrasing.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like it's something somebody's giving me. You know, and I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm taking it. If I feel like I'm taking something, then I'm gonna give it back because I don't want to, you know, be in that position. So,
well, I think both are giving. When you come into a DS relationship, the slave at some point will surrender to you, and the Dom is also giving of them. They both, in a great DS relationship, how I believe it's supposed to work is that you're both supposed to take care of each other. Like my way of taking care of Cyan is if she's sick and she still comes to work, I get her Theraflu. I make sure she's eaten. I make some soup for her. I make sure she's got a heating fan by her. I don't tell her to go to bed because I don't do that. However, when I'm sick, how she takes care of me is very different. It's like, no, you stay home, stay in bed. So it's very different, both taking care of each other, but in a very different dynamic.
Yeah, and everybody's got a different idea.
Yeah.
What that entails, so.
I think that it's a journey for both. You know, I don't think the other person feels like they're giving up when they're giving into they're surrendering. It's a gift that they want to give to somebody they care about, and the Dom accepts it, but knows that it's a gift. Yes.
In the chat room, they said accepting is a better word. What do you guys feel about that?
Accepting's great.
Accepting is great.
Yeah.
Well, see, also I think like we put a lot on the bottom or the slave or the sub or the however you want to classify it. We put a lot on that, but you know, at the end of the day, if the Dom is not in a position to take on that responsibility or isn't in the right mindset or isn't in the right headspace or doesn't have the experience, I mean, you know, that's also really, really important.
And also important for the prospective slave who's looking for the Dom to ask them the same questions, like, do you have a job? Do you, you know, are you depending on somebody as a financial slave? Because that's not me.
Right.
And you have to be upfront with what you are and what you don't do. Because I think oftentimes people just aren't communicating. And sometimes there isn't truthfulness, and that's on purpose too.
Yeah, and I think that just because you're a bottom or a sub or a slave or however you want to classify doesn't mean that, you know, when you're inquiring about serving, that you have to not voice your needs at that time. Because for me personally, I would really like to know what your expectations are, because I want to know if I even have the lifestyle that can meet them or the time for you or all of those things. So I think a lot of mistakes are made in the beginning because they're like, I want to be a good slave. I want her to accept me. I want, you know, and they don't voice their needs properly until you're way in it, and then that's where the disappointment comes in.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And often, yes?
I gotta say this comment, it'll make you guys laugh. How do you feel about blood tears as a lube? Tee hee 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 hee.
I use spit as a lube. It's great.
Ew, Jen.
I did. I made this guy spit in on his dildo, and then
there we go, right to the dildos.
And
I thought we were going to have like a real conversation.
We did have a real conversation,
all right, I guess
but
that's all we can handle. That's it for a real conversation.
Comment on that.
Moving
I think he's right. It's awesome. That's great.
Here comes the anal.
There's always
the
anal.
wave.
Kink Tank has a question.
Who does?
Kink Tank. I love that name.
Kink Tank.
I love it, love it, love it. Do you think that male dominance is, in general, feel different about dependency?
That's a great question. Ask him to expand more on that, or I can ask you. Can you expand a little bit more so I know where to go with this? Because I have a couple of ideas, just two.
That might be
I have a couple of thoughts.
Loaded question, right?
No, but see if they can expand more on it so that I understand it fully.
Well, there's a delay in the broadcasting. So,
Well,
do male dominants become dependent on their submissives? I think they can.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
See, I told you that was a loaded question.
But I also believe that there is female dominants who are that become dependent on either male or female slaves, especially if they have money. And I see a lot of
right. There's different dependencies.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, absolutely, we both do it. We just have different reasons for doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
I think the male doms. I'm probably gonna get a lot of shit for this. Thanks, John. Thanks, Mel.
I've got a disclaimer.
Yeah.
The views and thoughts expressed by my guests are not those of Inside Fetish or TSR Network. Please send all questions and comments to Carol Ann Stimson at 818.
I love it. Oh my God, she'd kill you.
Elaborated.
Okay.
The idea is that male dominants might not be so reluctant to maintain a relationship with a dependent submissive.
Right, because okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead and say what you're going to say. Go ahead.
Okay,
go ahead.
all I'm going to say about this is I think
Again,
a lot. I'm just going to say this, and this does not apply to all male doms. Does that make it better?
Yes.
I have found that the commonality with this is that a lot of male doms tend to use their female subs or slaves as more of like a ego boost or a look at me or here's my stable, where you won't generally, because you'll find a lot of times male doms walking around with 3 or 4 female submissives. You generally won't find female doms walking around with 3 or 4 male submissives at events or things like that. Now, again, not all doms. I'm just saying that I have seen Jen's bite. She wants to leave right now. She's gonna leave.
No, I think what you're saying is good.
So yes, I think there's a difference. Unfortunately, I think it's a little more about ego. Not to say that females don't do the same thing. There's definitely
difference.
that.
Yeah.
But I just, in my opinion, not the opinion of Inside Fetish, that would be what I have to say about that.
So the views expressed by my guest are not those.
I mean, how many times have we doing the disclaimer? I think they got it. Uh-oh.
Yes.
Did I open the floodgates?
Cortes Samosa, whatever. Great name, by the way.
Great name, Samosa.
Great name.
Samosa.
Is it Samosa?
It's S-U-M-I-S-O.
Yes,
Okay.
Samiso.
Samisa.
Samisa. So
I think the question is more, does the male dominant handle dependency different, better, or worse?
I think it's all of the above. No, I think they handle it different, and
right, yeah, different.
It's different, and that's okay. Men and women are different. That's cool.
Oh, now we're getting meek. Oh, is that what happened? Okay, well, let me just pack up my shit and like.
Yes, you got another one?
No, I have a statement, a comment.
Good.
I think that
I need more vodka.
There's not vodka in there, Jen. It's lemon.
I think that. Here, let me go get you some vodka. Right back up.
I need vodka.
Vodka.
Stop telling her there's vodka in there, Mel.
All right, gin. It looks like a Long Island iced tea.
Oh God,
it is.
That's all we need.
So I think that generally males are brought up not to show emotions, not to cry,
Absolutely.
not to be a little crybaby. And
Yes.
I think that that's one of the reasons why sometimes they don't show feelings. But my older brother told me that men feel more feelings than most women will ever imagine that they feel.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. Justin in the chat room says, I have never had a relationship with a sub simply because I'm not equipped to deal with someone's depending on me. A
Right.
badass sub may change that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a whole different genre of male doms. There's the daddy dom, like there's the female mommy dom. So the daddy doms do like that dependence, but they still want them to be a thinking independently on their own kind of thing. But to kind of expand on what you were saying, I know of a DS relationship after a few years broke up, and it's because he thought that he was supposed to be tough and not show emotion. And where she made her mistake was not sharing her feelings about how that made her feel. Because I think there's a pressure with male doms that they have to show like they're tough and sadistic. And so that was a very good point, because I do know for a fact I've talked to a lot of male doms who've had relationships go bad and they had no clue why. Because it wasn't communicated to them.
Yeah, that's a good point. That element's valid. Like, like Rev Mel said, I mean, they are taught don't cry and don't be a baby and don't and suck it up and toughen up and all that stuff. So I'm sure that plays a part in it, where we're taught to nurture and care for children and things like that. Like we are definitely taught on two different planes without question. So I mean, yeah, that's absolutely valid. I mean, if we're going to get into gender roles and
stuff, because it does play a part. It's just our makeup.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. I don't know. Well, you can't do anything about that, right? I guess we can only be aware that that's a thing.
That's a thing,
and work on that.
That's a thing.
We all have something to learn from each other at the end of the day, male or female. Top.
Absolutely. What I hope people to get out of this conversation is to really just communicate and ask. And that means asking questions, more questions and more questions, not in just one day or in 1 hour.
Right, and before you jump into a DS, jump into a friendship.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean,
and play partner. Be play partners first.
Right, play with each other, get to know each other. Don't whip out a contract, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yes, Mel.
What kind of questions do you ask somebody that is new and that you want to get to know? I mean, what are some of the fail-safe questions that you ask to form a relationship where you can get down to the bottom to make sure they're being genuine and transparent on who they say they are?
I don't think there's any 100% way to know that somebody's genuine or transparent without just spending time with them. And like I said, I would recommend you keep the DS out of it initially. I mean, get to know that person as a person. Obviously you want to discuss some limits, things like that. I mean, that goes without saying, but DS doesn't need to come into play for a long time.
Absolutely. I agree. So here's some of the questions that I ask. I get requests on FetLife all the time, and I have people that come to our parties and want to sit down and talk to me about slavery. So I'm like, do you have a job? Have you been in a DS relationship before? How long? These are very key answers. And I go, I'm going to ask some personal questions. And if you don't want to answer them, okay. So my other personal question is, did you get along with your mother? Do you have sisters? How many friends do you have? Do you go out often? Do you go out with your friends? Do you have other interests besides BDSM and come into fetish? What's some of your fetishes? Because that's very key too.
Yeah, but we also have a wealth of information under our belt.
Yes.
So that's,
yes. Yes, Rev.
Uh-oh.
Someone calling in?
I'm in the naughty chair. Uh-oh, she's going to kill me for that.
Oh, is that your phone?
No. I would never do that. That's
ridiculous. I didn't turn my phone off. My phone goes vicious.
No, Jen, don't
That's
lie.
my phone. My phone rings
You're totally
vicious.
trying to get me in trouble right now.
It's not mine.
Jen,
Plus, I have a ringer now that says there's an asshole calling. Asshole calling.
Jen, that's totally you. Don't lie.
That is not me.
Lies.
I will get my phone out now and show you the phone ringer that I have here. Turn off your phone.
Mine's Journey.
That's funny.
Not my phone.
I have questions that I ask.
Okay.
A male submissive. The first one is, how big is your cock?
I know. I was waiting when you were gonna say
Yeah,
that.
like you've been really well behaved so far.
And do you stick things up your butt?
Yes.
Yeah, well.
Do you
how
have
big is
girth? You got big balls or little balls? Do you hang to
Yeah.
the left, hang to the right?
That's really specific.
Yeah.
Can you draw us a picture?
Can they swing nice and low? Do they go to and fro?
Is that a pistol in your pocket, or are you just glad to see me?
Exactly.
Wow.
It's both. It's both. I have room for
I,
both.
for one, have never asked those questions.
I have.
Well,
I asked my dad.
um,
I have to take it to a weird place.
What did
Sorry.
you just say?
what?
Wow,
What
that
did you
was
s-
like that snuck up on me. Like I didn't understand that.
I think we need
Did
to
you
cut
catch
that out.
that?
No, I think I'm not sure, but
Do we have an edit button? Because I think that got really weird really fast.
I think we need to put a beep over the top of that.
Whoa.
Well, I have.
Okay, when we leave here, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, I've witnessed my father in his underwear running from the bedroom to the bathroom, and I mean, he's Italian, so they have the hugest balls in the whole world. It actually
And
hangs
they're
down-
hairy.
Can I just say this is going to a really strange place, you guys? I feel like one of us has to step in, and I know it's got to be me, right? Like the Gemini needs to be practical and say, "Hey, you two, let's turn it down, huh? This might be getting weird for the audience to hear about your dad's balls." I'm just
Hey, I took a shower when I was 3 with my dad, and that was
Okay,
the
okay.
last time
What
because
happened
I
here?
grabbed it, and then my dad's like, "Sandy, take her."
Your
And that
poor
was the
parents
last
right now.
time took
They're
a
crying.
shower.
They're crying right
They're
now.
not watching this.
Oh God, I hope not.
Okay, next question.
Yeah,
I remember that. It was
We'll
last time.
we'll rank this in. We won't talk about balls and cocks and all that.
We'll
sort of
talk
thing.
about them, just not attached to your parents, for fuck's sake.
I don't know. I caught my mother using a vibrator too. So
I mean, they love this weird shit.
just
I, for one, am not going to call my mom out on fucking the internet, okay? I guess I'm weird.
She goes to the sausage factory, though. You talked about that. Your mother at the sausage factory.
Dude, you are officially uninvited from Thanksgiving. I can't trust you.
Oh, that's funny.
Shit's going to get weird at my house. I can't have you over. I'm not doing it.
more vodka.
It's not true.
Did you give her vodka? Because that could explain a lot.
That's not true. I've never met her mother. I think she's
Talking about
Mormon.
mothers,
Yeah.
Justin in the chat room says my mom's on FetLife.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Then he also says, I'm seeing more and more 18, 19-year-old submissive newbies. How do you feel about supporting them and not feeling creepy?
Well,
I have 18, 19-year-old girls work at my dungeon.
okay,
so
that's different. I think from a male perspective, that's probably a little different. Like,
yeah. No,
we
I
don't
get
have that same,
No.
stigma attached to us.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah,
Really?
women do.
Well, you
yeah.
might.
You
might, Rev Mel, because we all know you're talking about buttholes and stuff all the time. But I personally don't have any weird stigmas attached to, like,
I
girls
do.
aren't afraid I'm going to stick something up their butts when I meet them. So.
Yeah, when I dated this 35-year-old, my daughter says this to me, Mom, what does he want with an old woman? I wanted to kick her in the butt.
I think that's fabulous. I think you should have 2 35-year-olds. That's what I think.
Awesome.
Bookends.
No, I don't.
Twins.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with 19-year-old boys wanting to serve me. I'm like,
Really?
yeah, no.
Oh, I think
They're not
that's
mature enough to handle this. Not emotionally mature.
Well, then
know
you
what
have to
this-
be a little more like responsible for what kind of play you're doing, you know.
Yeah, I don't.
But
play.
I think a mature dom can handle like working that out. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no,
You're
that's
giving
good.
me that weird eyeball now. But you just talked about your dad's balls, and I'm fucking weird. Okay. And I'm getting weird with the 19-year-old. I'm not related to him, Jen. So I guess.
That was when I was 3, and it never happened
Well, that's even
again.
weirder. Like, why are we still talking about it then?
You brought it up.
No, I swear. I did not talk about it.
I'm looking at myself. I'm like, oh, look at my hair.
Well, did you
Yeah.
expect her to not look at herself?
To make sure it's like live from the double chin. I'm like, ugh,
Jen,
You look beautiful.
thank you.
Put like put a posture collar on her.
Yeah, right.
That'll keep her looking in the
No,
right
this
direction.
was funny. This was funny. You're
What?
really funny.
There's no booze in there, Jen, so stop acting like you're drunk. It's just iced tea. Get it together.
I smoked some weed before I got here.
You did not, and I don't think we could say that. Can we say that? You gotta edit that now. See, look at all this work you're giving her.
She doesn't have to
Dad's
edit
balls and.
that. She doesn't have to
No,
edit.
she might, in California you can smoke weed.
You can. It's legal, dude.
Yeah,
I don't
dude.
know. I feel like I'm hanging with the wrong crowd tonight. I feel like y'all are corrupt.
I don't know. Wait till you get on my show next month.
Yeah.
I told her that was the worst decision I ever made.
Yeah.
I was like, why did I say yes to that? That was really probably a horrible idea.
I'll probably take you here that night. So
Why? So you
I'll
can laugh
be-
at me? That's great.
I'll be
Thanks
in
for your
the
support.
corner going.
Yeah,
Mel, ask her this. She'll love it.
I'll be pitching stuff at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
So-
we are way off topic. I
We
just
are
wanna-
way off topic. I'm sorry. It happens with us. Who's got another question?
So when you meet someone, how long does it take for you guys to play with them or to have sex with them?
I don't have sex with
Ew.
them.
All right, wait a second. Okay, so I think every dom has a different like thing with this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me personally, I don't mix like my slaves with my sex life. Rev Mel obviously has a different take on that because she's pulling a ruler out on the first date. I don't want to speak for you. You're here. Speak for yourself. But
You know
and
me.
I know some people do mix romance and slavery and have DS relationships in their, in their personal lives. I personally don't like to mix those two things. I think that's where it gets messy. I have done it, and that's where I learned not to do that. And it just didn't work out. Things got real sticky. So
Both of your body language is so funny.
yeah, we're trying to get away from that. Maybe even when she started talking about her dad's balls, I was trying to get out of here. Now I feel like I know something about her I don't want to
I'm
know.
opening up to her to like, yeah. This is,
And I'm like,
and you're still getting away from me. I'm like, what?
She's even trying to move the chair.
Yeah, I'll be outside doing the show. You'll have to move a camera to the front porch.
Don't worry, I get to pick the chair to sit on.
So I see somebody ordered a pizza and their pizza got there. So are you guys eating pizza and not
Sharing.
sharing, or is this boring that you have to eat a pizza?
Oh no,
Or
I
you-
think they're enjoying it because I also posted that we have a show coming at 9 o'clock too. So make sure you guys stick around. So we have quite a few people that are watching this. Been pretty much a full house. That's why.
Well, they were waiting for me because I've been gone for 6 months.
Oh yeah, 'cause it's all about her. Hey,
Well, it's my show.
Okay, well they could have been waiting for me too.
Well,
I'm just
yeah.
saying.
Sure.
Justin said that they need a hug. Yeah.
They do. I need a hug.
You both of you guys need a hug.
I'm not, okay, wait a second. Don't touch me.
Ooh, kiss.
Ew.
We've talked
Okay.
about
Yeah, we've talked about how
We-
much it would cost for us to do
for
something
us to
together.
do a scene together. We started. This is before we went to a party,
We went to a bar. Yeah.
and it's like we're like $50,000,
We
and
started
I'll
at
do
50 grand.
whatever. She can do whatever the fuck she wants to me. And then after a few drinks, we're like, who are we kidding? We'll do it for $5,000. And then about 2 hours
Yeah.
later, who are we kidding? We'll do it for $500.
And we're like high-fiving.
500. We'll do it for $500.
I felt dirty the next day because we remembered we had that conversation,
Yeah.
and we like had a very specific conversation like, would you go down on me for 1,000? And then yeah, okay, fine, it would be really gross but fine. Only because we've been friends forever, okay?
We're like sisters.
This is
So
it.
it'd be incestuous.
Yeah, this is it.
So that's gonna cost you.
Well, King Tank says I'm stuffing my face.
With what?
Pizza.
The pizza. How boring.
Yeah.
Back when it's pussy.
We had
Pizza on the pussy.
yeah.
we had
Hey,
Ah!
make a new fetish.
yeah.
Just remember, you heard it here first.
You have what?
A pussy on the pizza. Pussy pizza.
You have a pussy pizza on the. You have a pussy pizza on the. You have a pizza on the pussy fetish.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah. You.
That would be an interesting fetish.
It would be.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that yet.
Yeah, that's good.
I think I just invented it.
You did.
I'm going to
You
start
did.
that group on FetLife.
You did. You did. This has been very disturbing.
Yeah,
So
it has.
should we stay on topic now, or people run that out?
You can give it a try.
I don't know. We should talk
Are
about.
people pittered out?
No, I think they're having a good old time.
They haven't. Well, I think they've missed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course they've missed you.
I've missed.
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah.
I missed them.
I missed you already.
And I missed you guys.
I missed you.
I miss you.
Yeah.
Oh, let's cry.
Tears are a fetish.
Let's hug it out. Just nobody touch me. Thanks.
Air hug. Air kiss.
Ew. Even that was gross. See, I can't. No, we can't.
Oh, they're saying, what about a hug?
What
It's
about-
nice and slow. Tee hee hee. They want a hug. Look at.
There you go.
Is that good? Is that okay? No, we hug sometimes, right?
We do.
Yeah.
We do. We do. You hugged me after I almost died.
I had to. I mean, that's what you do.
And then you told me I'm not equipped for this. I didn't realize how much I cared for you.
Yeah, I
So
was very disturbed after that.
I'm going to need to take a step back.
Yeah.
And then she told me she was leaving.
Yeah, I had to reel it in after that. I was like, ugh, gosh,
I care about
this
you.
attachment's annoying.
Fuck.
You know?
And like every little noise that I made that she didn't understand, she's like, "Are you all right? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm vertical. I'm good."
Well, you're such a fucking attention whore, dude.
I know. Yeah.
You know? But I guess it was your turn, right? Because I showed my ass at the...
Yeah, Mistress Astley.
Yeah, so I guess it
Yeah.
was your turn. I get it.
It was my turn to
Yeah.
pass out unconscious on the floor,
I think mine was way
not
better.
responsive.
Yeah, I think mine was better.
It was good.
Yeah.
Yours was sexy. There's nothing sexy about a 48-year-old woman not responding, no pulse,
You're really bringing me down right now.
blood
Okay,
pressure.
You know, bumming
Okay,
me out.
but was the paramedics and firemen cute?
They were actually, and
Were they?
They asked her, "Are you allergic to anything?" And she said, "Bullets." And at that point, I knew she was okay. And they were laughing because she said it just like, yeah, bullets. You know, I'm allergic to bullets. And I was like, oh, she's fine, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. And what the funniest thing was is Mistress Absolute, who's from London, both her and Ashley were like on the floor with me, like making sure and answering questions and everything. And they both rode in the ambulance, but Mistress Absolute was in full latex, and Ashley's like, I don't know how she's going to make it down to the ambulance.
Yeah.
So I'm in the ambulance, and I'm like, oh, we're going to miss her. And then she goes, no, there she is. And the ambulance was pulling away. And I go, no, don't stop. Keep going a little bit.
Yeah, she made
So
her
she's
run.
like hauling like Baywatch, and her boobs
Terrible.
were bouncing. And I'm like, okay, stop.
Let her on, let her on.
And then I'm in the hospital. They're in the waiting room, and they're looking for a bar.
We were looking for a bar. It was Saturday night. Friday night? Saturday night.
Friday night.
It was Friday night. We wanted to drink.
But I still wore my heels and took pictures of my feet. It's even
Yeah.
near death. I'm like in my heels.
We were taking selfies in the parking
And they were
lot.
taking selfies
It
in
was
the
bad.
parking lot and smoking.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm good. Everything's fine. It's just kind of touchy there. Not sure what the hell was
Oh, here we go.
going on, and was a little foggy in the brain for a while. Seizures kind of fuck you up for a little bit. But I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
She's
good.
fine. Don't let her.
Fine.
Don't let her make you
The
feel
love
bad
has
for her.
gone on this.
Yeah.
She's not like.
Don't let her make you feel bad. She's fine. She's been tearing it up ever since. So
Yeah, I've been
she's
relaxing
fine.
by the pool all summer, and I was getting this tan, and she's like, "You're not fucking sick, you and your
I know.
tan."
She looked Brazilian. She just was looking for a vacation.
Yeah, it's like ask Jen and her tan.
Mm-hmm. Her tan was its own entity.
Mm-hmm. And so, but no, I'm good. Everything's good. We're doing good.
Are we still talking about DS?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we
'cause
are.
I'm bored with you now.
somewhat. Just thought I would segue about me for a little bit.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so exciting to be here, Rev.
It's been a while.
I think that was a good topic we were just discussing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, did we
anything
burn
that.
it out?
Did
Yeah.
we burn it out or?
No.
Oh, there's somebody that says on any topic.
That was me talking.
Oh.
King Tank says, I'm interested in where these lovely ladies place boundaries for pro clients and how much mix with personal lives do they allow?
None. Zero.
Well, it happens. It does. Can't do anything about it.
What, my pro clients and my personal
Oh,
life?
not you. Oh, yeah.
No.
No, I know that it's happened. Maybe not necessarily.
Of course it happens.
But no, she
personally.
hasn't. No, she hasn't.
No, but that
Not at
line
all.
needs to be drawn. I mean,
It does, because now you no longer have a fucking client and you lost some money. It's stupid. It's not a good business move.
yeah, and I mean, I do this for a living, and I know there's a lot of, controversy surrounding, like, being lifestyle and being professional or mixing the two or, but I don't mix either one of those things ever. Of course, I've had people ask me, like, can I be your slave? And no. If we started on a professional basis, we'll end on a professional basis. If we started on a personal basis, we'll end on a personal basis. I don't cross over for either one of those things. So
I don't either. Yes.
Well, Kinky Tank or King
Yes.
Tank,
Tank.
if you bring me over a piece of pizza, I'll start a relationship with you.
wait, I have to bring the pizza?
No, King Tank has pizza at his house.
Oh, okay.
So Justin says, I was invited to do a fetish photo shoot, my first. Any advice?
Keep the pants on. No, just kidding.
Let's see your cack.
Are you getting paid for it? Is that happening?
I don't know if he's getting paid for it.
Well,
We've got 2.5 minutes to find out.
Well, are
I
you
think
getting
it's-
paid for it, and is it going all over the internet? Because that might be something you may or may not want.
Or is it things that you're into that are going to be happening?
King Tank has elaborated on that question.
Okay.
Are you involved in the local non-pro community? What happens when you run into clients? Yeah, I think that Sanctuary also has a non-pro community
Sure, yeah.
attached
Yes.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have our lifestyle parties, and we have classes during the week and on weekends.
I don't see the crossover, though.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't see
No.
a crossover there.
Yes, one more?
1 minute.
Oh.
There's no crossover there. Do you see a crossover? Oh,
No.
the
no.
slave auction.
Oh, the slave
I
auction.
always have to save this shit, don't I?
Oh,
The
God.
slave auction.
The
Yeah.
slave auction, because
Yeah,
Mr.
remember we're doing
Cyan
that?
was going to be here
Right.
tonight to talk about the slave auction.
Mhm.
It's our Thanksgiving slave auction. It's 9 o'clock on Saturday.
Yes,
Bring
please come.
cans of food, and you will in return get vouchers so that you can buy slaves for the play party. Not to buy slaves like in slave trafficking. We don't do that.
Well, and we donate that food to the needy
And we
the
donate
homeless.
the food to the needy and the
And
homeless.
it's not always slaves that are up for auction. A lot
Yes,
of times
Doms go
go
up.
up. So
Yes.
don't be afraid to be submissive and bring some food. I mean, you'll need a lot of it, but
Yes, but
you
it's
know,
easy.
I went up before.
Yeah.
I might do it. I don't know. We'll
I'm
see.
going to go up as a slave probably. Oh, no, I can't because I'm emceeing.
Yeah,
So,
she doesn't know what's going on.
yeah, I
Uh-oh.
do too. Okay,
Okay, wait.
time's up.
Yeah. Is that it? Did we cover everything?
I think we did.
SanctuaryLAX.com if you want to check out the club.
SanctuaryLAX.com, Mistress Ashley Rains.
AshleyRains.com if you want to check me out. But you can also check me out on Sanctuary's site. So SanctuaryLAX.com.
yes.
All the events and everything are listed, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Well, thank you so much, Ashley. You probably never speak to me again, but
Well, we're going to go talk about your dad's balls now. So.
no, we're not.
Justin said he wants to be the auctioneer for it. That's what he does for a living.
Really?
Yeah, he's
That would be
awesome.
cool to have somebody
Yeah.
going, doing the
A
whole
really
thing.
good one.
Yeah,
So,
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely. Thank you.
Make sure that everybody that is watching the show, if you're not in the chat room, please stay tuned. At 9 o'clock this evening is Naughty or Nice with Miss Cassie. And tonight's guest is going to be my old girl,
Hutzi
Hutzi
Hahn.
Hahn.
Woo! She is
That's
sexy. That woman saying happy birthday to me a couple of years
Lucky
ago.
you.
I was lucky. I am lucky. I love my life. Well, thank you, everybody,
Thanks.
so much. And it's great to be back. Thank you, Ashley.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks.
Okay, now
We're hugging. We're hugging. That's not my
This is
good
painful.
side.
Yeah.
My
Okay, we
face.
did it.
I'm all face. All right. Good night.
Bye.
Woo!